Hard to believe, but the Porsche Cayenne has been with us for 21 years now. It's a really important car for the manufacturer and it's got to move with the times. So that's why we're here driving the part electrified e-hybrid models. Now, as part of the whole facelift of the Porsche Cayenne range, not a great deal has changed. They've got new matrix LED headlights here, slightly new design of front bumper, and the front wings have changed somewhat. Moving around the side, one of the details that you'll find is the e-hybrid badge, which tells you that this is one of the part electrified models. It's got a little bit of acid green detailing on it there. You can have that optioned out if you want. And the brake calipers also match as well. The car is available in both coupe and SUV forms. We're driving the coupe here. You can see that from the sloping rear angle of the screen. And that's pretty much the detail changes outside at the front and side. So let's move around to the back and have a look what's changed there. Okay, so moving around to the back of the car, there's not much changed again. There's not a huge amount of difference, but what we've got here is a more defined light bar across the back of the vehicle. That counts on both the SUV and the coupe. Again, you can see here the acid green detailing on the Cayenne S badge on this particular model, showing you that it's a part electric version. The bumper has changed. The rear bumper is probably the biggest visual clue to that you're looking at the facelifted model. And then obviously we've got quad exhausts down here. But again, not a huge amount of difference to the old car. So with the e-hybrid models, you do lose a bit of boot space compared to the ones that are just pure combustion. So this one has 404 litres of boot space with all the seats in play, but that's because it's the coupe. If you need a little bit more practicality, you're probably going to want the SUV. That's got 545 litres of boot space, but still good size, nice practical load space, good flat area, really nice. Let's look in the back of the car. Okay, sitting in the back of the Cayenne, nice place to be. Good support from the seat here, nice and comfortable. I've got plenty of headroom, good knee room. There's no appreciable drop off in quality either. You can see everything back here looks, feels great. We've got a Racetex headlining in this one as well, very swish. The centre seat is a little bit high, it's a little bit hard. There's quite a wide transmission tunnel to put your feet either side of, so you wouldn't want to be sitting here too long. But for 4 adults, it's okay. If you need more headroom, obviously buy the SUV model. Good features back here though, we've got a pair of USB-C sockets. There's a 12-volt socket as well. And then there's individual climate controls for each passenger. You adjust your temperature, so on, nice and comfortable. Yeah, for 4 adults, this is fine. First thing to talk about is the absolute quality of the interior in this car. Really great material finishing up front. You've got a fabulous driving position. You can get down low relative to the car, but you still have that high vantage point that an SUV affords you. So it just feels great. You're ensconced by the car. It just feels natural. The Porsche GT Sport wheel, by the way, ought to be standard fit in every car in the industry. It's just perfect. So really good quality. The changes for the facelift are that it has the really nice digital cluster from the Porsche Taycan. This is configurable. You can change through the displays. So you can have your nav, you can have different functions showing up in the dials over there. The gear lever has moved onto the center console up here. It's moved from the transmission tunnel up here, so that's necessitated a redesign of this area. But generally, everything functions really nicely. The Porsche communication management infotainment is still presented on this brilliant screen, responds really well. This is a high quality cabin. One really nice feature, it's an option, is the passenger display, which is over there. That can show various functions as well to keep the passenger entertained while you're driving. But brilliantly, as the driver, I can't actually see that even though that screen is on. So that's a safety feature. So for the facelifted version of the Cayenne, there are now 6 different models to choose from, and there's a heavy shift towards electrification. 4 of them are e-hybrids, plug-in hybrids. There's the basic Cayenne E-Hybrid, there's the Cayenne S E-Hybrid, which is what we're driving here, there's the Cayenne Turbo E-Hybrid, and then there's the Cayenne Turbo E-Hybrid with the GT package. Now that is only available as the coupe, so there's 5 SUVs and 6 for the coupe. The new one is actually this Cayenne S E-Hybrid. Confusingly, the petrol Cayenne S has gone back to a V8 engine, which is great fanfare from Porsche fans. But this still uses a V6 like the base Cayenne E-Hybrid. It's just uprated to 519 horsepower in this car. That means you'll get 0 to 100 km/h in 4.7 seconds, and the top speed is 263 km/h. For all the e-hybrid models, there's a bigger battery now. It's 25.9 kilowatt hours. That means the electric range has gone up. So you get something between 70 and 72 kilometers from all the models. Top speed in electric mode is limited to 135 kilometers an hour. Quoted fuel economy and CO2 figures are obviously impressive. You can expect 2 litres to 1.7 litres per 100 kilometre consumption, and CO2 well below 50 grams per kilometre. Charging times for the battery are also quicker, despite the fact it's larger. There's now 11 kilowatt AC capability, so if you have the right 3-phase hookup, you can recharge the battery in around 2.5 hours. For the more typical 7.4 kilowatt home charger though, you're looking around 3 hours. One of the big changes for the Cayenne facelift is a change to the Porsche Active Suspension Management, or PASM. Now forgive us for getting a bit technical here, but what they've done is they've changed the dampers to have 2 valves, one for compression and one for rebound. Previously the Cayenne only had 1 valve that did both jobs. And what this change does is potentially gives you the best of both worlds. It's supposed to improve ride comfort and also make the car have better body control. Now that's going to be useful because, to be fair, all the e-hybrid models are pretty heavy. When you're trying to package in a big engine and a 4-wheel drive system and electric batteries, you end up with quite a heavy car. We're talking 2.5 tons for this SE hybrid that we're driving here, up to 2.7 tons for the turbo e-hybrid. However, those dampers really have worked. The car is just fabulous to ride in. Doesn't matter what wheel size you're on, what the road surface is like. It's very comfortable, very quiet, keeps its body on an even keel. But then when it comes to handling, it's always been very, very impressive. This has always been one of the best big SUVs to drive, and the changes haven't altered that at all. There's really nice steering feel, it's precise, it's accurate, the weighting's great, the car's got loads of grip, loads of balance. You really won't find it wanting. Actually, it never even feels that heavy, even if you're driving one of the models that isn't more focused and performance orientated. It masks its weight really well, the brakes feel good, you don't feel like you're battling with a huge object when you're trying to throw it through a few corners. Now we're in the Cayenne S E-Hybrid because that's the new one at the moment, but obviously the Turbo E-Hybrid and the Turbo E-Hybrid with the GT package are the 2 new models. You can't get a standard non-electrified Cayenne Turbo anymore, and these 2 represent the pinnacle of the Cayenne range. They have an incredible 739 horsepower between them, and they also have 950 Newton meters of torque. The difference between the 2 of them is that the Turbo E-Hybrid with the GT package is 100 kilograms lighter due to a variety of weight-saving measures, one of them being a carbon fiber roof. That means it can do 0 to 100 km/h in 3.6 seconds, and it also goes on to a top speed of 305 km/h. The regular turbo's not too shabby though. That does 0 to 100 in 3.7 seconds and 295 km/h flat out. We've driven both the Turbo E-Hybrid and the Turbo E-Hybrid with the GT package extensively on track, and they are both brilliant, if a little bit heavy for track work. But really, for road work, this SE hybrid is all you're going to need. The transition between petrol and electric power is really smooth, the gearbox is great, it's got more than enough performance, it's a really, really impressive piece of kit. One of the small things maybe to note is that there's not a great deal of regenerative braking power, so when you lift off the throttle, the car doesn't really slow down appreciably, it just coasts along. There's a lot of mass here as well and inertia, so that's possibly why it just keeps going at the same speed, so you are going to have to use the brake pedal a bit more than you might do in other hybrids and electric vehicles. But generally the pedal feels great. The car's just really well calibrated in all the main departments. It's just a pleasure to drive it in all circumstances. So there are no major changes for the facelift of the 3rd generation Porsche Cayenne SUV, but it remains a really compelling package. It's got a great interior, an absolutely fabulous chassis, it looks good, and of course there's now even more electrification choice thanks to the plug-in e-hybrid range growing in numbers. If you want a premium, high-performance SUV, this has to be very high up on your list, possibly even at the top.